In today's video, we're going to be looking at the punta slanciata. Translated out of Italian, it's the flung thrust. And this is one of my favorite spear moves to use because it's so versatile. So I'll show you the basic technique first. What you're going to do is when you're holding your spear, you're going to loosen the spear with the grip in your lead hand, and your rear hand is going to push the spear through, and you can strike to your target. There's a couple ways we can modify this thrust. So we can, to get extra range, take a lunge as we're thrusting, or we can do a simple step, or if we want a lot of range, we can take a passing step. And the nice thing about the passing step is we can use it to step outwards and get some more angle on our spear as we're coming into our target. And something that works really well with this shot is before we throw it, we squeeze the spear pole together with our hands to create some tension, and then when we release the tension in our lead hand, our spear moves very quickly. Now, there's something important to keep in mind with this. This shot hits really hard. It's probably one of our hardest hitting strikes. Our spear's going to be moving really fast. It's going to be pushed by our arms, carried by our body mechanics. Make sure not to kill people with this. When you strike with this shot, you'll want to use the tension in your hands to begin your spear throw, but after your spear is moving, really the spear's weight can carry it to its target. You don't need to push with your arms all the way through. Also, if you're stepping while thrusting with this one, you want to make sure that your stepping foot hits the ground before you hit your target. That way you have more control over how much force gets transferred into the target, because if you hit them midway through your step, you're going to hit your target with your entire body weight. So there's some more advanced ways that we can throw the spear shot as well. We can simultaneously throw an attack and close an incoming line. So if you pretend that you have a spear, and your spear is on my inside, I can thrust at you while pushing my spear to the outside so that my spear is kind of in between your spear and me, which makes you have to think a little bit more before you can just attack me and try to get a double kill. Likewise, if their spear is on my outside line, I can shift my hands over here, put my spear in between mine and yours, and thrust, and be safer from your spear than if I was just thrusting like this. Now, sometimes with this thrust, people have problems with headshots, and there are several techniques that we can use to avoid these. So, our first one is we'll simply just pronate our lead hand, which means we take this wrist and we point it down at the ground. And we do that as we're striking, and then when we hit our target, our hand is putting some downward weight on our spear, and it's harder for it to rise up. We'll also want to keep this lead hand low, so sometimes people tend to pull this hand in while they're attacking, or they raise it up while they're attacking. You want to keep it about hip level. Another thing we can do is we can raise this pommel so that our spear is pointed downwards as we strike our target. And when we do that, you'll want to flip this wrist over so that way it's facing outwards. You don't want to do this technique while your wrist is facing down. It's going to be really hard on your wrist, and you also still run the risk of raising that spear up. Whereas here, it's not very easy. And lastly, our technique for avoiding headshots is you hold the spear in the straight ward, and then when you attack your target, you strike downwards. So when you hit your target, instead of the spear kind of skipping upwards, it'll skip down. Also, if you miss your target and overshoot, you're going to overshoot to the ground rather than up to people's heads. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.